Hey, Caleb, you have any ideas for the intro this week?
Nope, let's just get into it.
Okay.
And that is how you start a podcast, man. I don't know about you, but I feel pretty good about it. That might be my favorite that we've done, just because we didn't really have to think about it. Well, second thought.
We had a top 10 list, and we narrowed it down to that.
I was going to say, we might have actually discussed this intro more than any before we finally decided, you know what, let's just wing it.
Yep, we just winged it. Wung it? Wung it?
Wanged it.
We wanged it.
Yes, I believe that's what it is. Just like when you knock your head on something, you wang in your head. This is
what in the world?
Episode 28 of Your Life in a Fantasy Football World. Welcome once again. Week 3. Man, the season's going really fast already. Week 3 is in the books, just about. We're currently watching the hapless Redskins and Bears game where they just don't have a great offense. Got that on the background, so we will be making some comments as Wes and I are in a couple of matchups, and he desperately needs David Montgomery to score, not even a lot, just like
20 points,
100 yards, touchdown, 5 catches, something like that.
Very nice, though, to know that Cordell Patterson is currently out carrying him, which makes me want to smash the wall and kill Nagy with his stupidity.
I believe that's why you draft a running back, so you can play somebody else instead, right?
Well, seeing that Mitch Trubisky is on pace to have one of the worst Bears quarterback season, it's good he threw the ball about 10 times already with 3 minutes already gone in the first quarter. So let's keep our fingers crossed for that crap.
Oh, yeah.
Caleb, don't you dare get aroused over this.
Well, hey, man, this is in our Dynasty League. This is the first year of this Dynasty League, so I am more built for this year than next year for sure. So there's one person in our league, Jackie. She is definitely built for the future. Her team is basically all rookies.
Well, you got young quarterbacks, man. You are. Oh, it's a sexy team. It's a sexy core.
Someone tried to offer me Andrew Luck for Mason Rudolph, and I was like,
Sam busted.
Are you serious? I know I'm dumb, but come on.
Hey, just a little word out to the listeners. Don't be the guy that doesn't trade or doesn't respond. At least respond. You know, I realize there's not a lot of trade going on in our league unless it involves me usually.
Yeah.
But just respond, you know? And if you don't want to trade the guy, just tell me you don't want to trade the guy.
Just say it. Just talk about it.
Just say it. No means no.
Problem is, when somebody ends up making a trade that burns them, then they get sour on making future trades with that person. It's like our one friend won't trade with me anymore because he's just afraid of giving stuff up. Yeah.
I know. It's like you offer the trade and they're like, wait a second. If he wants him, maybe I should want him. So I'm not going to trade him.
Of course, then sometimes you get fortunate. Like, I tried very hard to get both Saquon Barkley and Antonio Brown before the year began.
Oh, yeah.
And we will get into that.
I tried to get Antonio Brown, and I tried to get Saquon last week, and they were pretty generous offers, and was immediately shot down. And you know what? Excellent. Now the guy has to sit in his own puddle of pee and stool, as he has no wide receiver or running back.
Hey, I find that a fun thing to do, so if that's all he has to do is sit in that, don't worry. Oh, man.
Enjoy yourself.
So, you know what? I got things switched around in here. We're going to get into the news. You know, we are going to wait on the news. Let's get into
What?
No, we don't have to. Let's just jump into the news, as we always do. So, how do you want to get into the news?
Nibbity, 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 news.
I thought you were saying nipple or something.
No, I was saying nipply.
Okay, good. Let's just start with probably the most consequential news is Saquon Barkley. Unfortunately, high ankle sprain is done for the next 4 to 8 weeks. It seems like he's on the latter side of that timetable, which means might not see him again until week 11-ish, which is great for playoff runs, but unfortunately, his backup is probably going to be the most sought-after grab this week, which is kind of weird on a bad offense like that. I don't know if he's as valuable as a player, for sure.
They could definitely be adding somebody. I heard Rod Smith's a possibility. I mean, there's a couple good running backs floating around out there that are without jobs, so it's a good possibility they add another running back.
To me, the tricky thing is that you're going to grab who you think right now is the backup, and Wayne Gallman, I couldn't think of his name, and he doesn't end up being the backup. Kind of like last year when Kareem Hunt went out, everybody was grabbing Spencer Ware and Darrell Williams, and then somebody happened to grab Damian Williams, and then turns out Damian Williams was the guy. So I don't know. Might be something you have to wait a week on.
But I mean, if you have to wait a week, your options aren't going to be there because those guys are going to be like a piece of meat in a pool of piranhas.
So if you're playing Fab, free agent acquisition budget, and you have $100 Fab dollars, what are you spending on Wayne Gallman?
Oof.
Are you going to spend
$100?
Are you going to spend 100%?
If I had Saquon Barkley, probably. I'm cheap by nature. I'd probably go 35, 40.
Yeah,
if I need him, but I would not blow the whole bank on the guy because he can catch the ball, but it's an every down back. You got to be kidding me.
Well, it's the thing is, you don't have these situations too many times in the year that you have the chance to get a starting quarterback this late or starting running back this late. And so, so for someone like me in one of my leagues that I have Saquon, it might be worth it. Unfortunately, that's not a Fab lead, and I have the number 10 priority, so there's no way I can get him.
Yeah, not a chance.
T.Y. Hilton re-aggravated his quad. Thankfully, he was nice enough to put up a pretty big fantasy day before he went out. But there's a good chance he will be nursing that, next week as well. So something to monitor. T.Y. Hilton. Jacoby Brissett played pretty well, but not sure if you want to take a stab at any other wide receivers on that team. Pascal, it's hard to say. Deion Kane might step it up. It's hard to say.
Oh, that's tricky, man. That's a lot of average receivers that there's no clear number 2, I don't think. Paris Campbell, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Well, Eric Ebron maybe get a little more work.
Yep.
I don't know squat.
Yeah, they have
T.Y. Hilton
lot of
is
good...
a day-to-day situation right now.
We're just going to keep talking over each other. Yeah.
Just talk louder.
Something to watch out for. Cam Newton is out again, and personally, that is great for your fantasy players in that team. Cam was not playing well at all. He needs to get healthy before he comes back. Kyle Allen did phenomenally well. 4 touchdown passes. Christian McCaffrey just destroyed in this game. So DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, everybody had pretty decent value. Even Greg Olsen, 2 touchdowns. Greg Olsen is lasting.
Greg Olsen was awesome, man. I thought he was retiring last year.
He continued to get injured, but yeah, he's still looking pretty good. They are in a not a position to win a lot of games, so I wouldn't be surprised if they just hold Cam Newton out for a significant amount of time and let Kyle Allen, do what he's got to do. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And who knows, man? Maybe Kyle Allen won't. I think that would be a long shot, but Kyle Allen might be starting week 1 next year.
Yep.
If Cam Newton can't stay healthy, and week 1 and week 2, man, he wasn't really on the injury report, and he was pretty bad. Left a lot to be desired. I know this because I have him in more than I should, in more leagues than I should.
Killed you the first 2 weeks. So, yeah, that being said, we might talk about this in a drop segment, but, for me, he's easily droppable. Just let him ride the waiver wire. He's not a problem that you want to have on your bench either. Yeah, any other significant injuries you want to talk about?
I do not.
All right. Then we're good to go. Good to get into, what's this next one? The buy low and sell high. Or do you want to get into the recap and just start talking about all the winners and losers before we get into buying?
We'll do both, Caleb. I don't care what you do, how you do it.
Oh.
Just do it.
Crap. Good, I gotta host this thing. Let's get into the recap because that's the important thing. This is what we want to talk about. This is what we want to get into. There's some big winners, you could say. There was a lot of first-time quarterbacks taking a stab with their starts. Mason Rudolph, Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones just crushed it. 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns, bringing that team to the point to win it, even with losing Saquon Barkley. And, a missed field goal, and suddenly the Giants have a win and a lot of positivity moving forward because Daniel Jones looked really good. He looked very mobile, not like a statue.
Can I share a fun fact with you?
Yeah.
Fantasy points for the season. Baker Mayfield has 34.1 points, right?
Okay.
Daniel Jones has 34.2.
Dun, dun, dun.
So for people like me who are hot on Mayfield as like a top 3 quarterback, a rookie came in and his first start has eclipsed Baker Mayfield in 3 games. So pretty sad stuff.
A second fun fact is that was the second best fantasy performance in a rookie's first game in fantasy history.
Well, it was a heck of a game.
Yeah, the number 1 was Cam Newton. Fun for that. Daniel Jones, did great. Who's next?
Michael Evans, man. Let me give you some stats, okay? You tell me which one sounds like the season stats and which one sounds like a single game stat. 89 receiving yards and no touchdowns, and 131 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. The first one was how much Mike Evans did before Week 3. The second one is what he did before halftime yesterday. What the crap, man? He exploded. I mean, the Giants have a terrible secondary, but good God, put like 4 guys on him.
Yeah, the detriment is that for those that have Chris Godwin, Chris Godwin did not do much at all yesterday, but I don't know. Obviously, they needed to change things up because Winston wasn't playing very well, and Mike Evans is a good receiver. He was making some pretty awesome catches. His first touchdown.
We all knew that was just going to be a matter of time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He couldn't just keep doing that, so.
Yeah, I'm excited for our buy low segment because that was one of the receivers that you could have been targeting last week pretty heavily as people were pivoting off of.
Yeah. No chance now. I know I tried to, and the price was too stiff, I guess.
Yeah. Everybody values people too high as soon as you ask for them. Evan Ingram, man, came back and just crushed it again for the Giants after a lower week 2, only scoring 10 fantasy points. He came back and, again, showed what he can do, made an awesome one-arm catch. He's a physically dominant player. The targets are going to continue to come his way. He's going to be one of those players that some teams that's the guy they're going to try and take out of the mix. But Sterling Shepard had a great game there for the Giants. It was pretty awesome to watch. I got to watch it most of that game, and it was pretty exciting.
Yeah, he looked awesome, man. That one touchdown he got, I think they clocked him over 20 miles an hour. It was pretty insane. He's a tight end, but he's got insane wheels.
Yeah, he's so big. Yep. How about Mr. Gardner? Gardner Minshew.
Dude, Gardner Minshew. Where did this cat come from, man? He's awesome. He has taken Jacksonville by storm.
Yeah.
He was, a 6th-round pick? I believe, out of Washington State. Went in Thursday night, started against the Titans, threw for 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, should have had a third, but the receiver dropped it.
Westbrook.
Yeah, so for the season, he has almost 700 yards passing, almost 75% completion percentage, 5 touchdowns, and a pick, and also 80 rushing yards. So, between the mustache and the accuracy, do you think Nick Foles, if healthy, is taking over?
I mean, Nick Foles isn't supposed to come back till at least, week 9. So at that point, you're going to have quite a bit of time to really evaluate games from Minshew. If he continues to pace this, I mean, you don't have to put Foles back in. You're not. You're paying the guy, but this is like Tom Brady's situation, Drew Bledsoe went down. People were like, well, you have to put Drew Bledsoe back in. But once Brady was winning games, why do it?
I wish they'd have put Bledsoe back in.
No history. Russell Wilson, I got to talk about him. Last year, his passing was just non-existent. And all of a sudden, this game, the game script helped because they were way behind for the entire game. Threw 50 passes, completed 32 of them, 406 passing yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, 51 rush yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. A ridiculous fantasy game. That's the kind of weeks you hope to get. Obviously, I don't see that being the reality constant moving forward. But obviously, Rashad Penny was out with injury. Chris Carson fumbled the ball again. So
3 fumbles in 3 weeks.
Yeah, so they needed to step up the passing game to really have any chance in that. And Russell Wilson put the game on his back. Unfortunately, fell short with some garbage time attacks.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Last winner, Cooper Kupp. And I'm just bringing him up. I know he's having a decent season, but just listen to this, man. 11 catches, 102 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he had 5 catches somewhere early in the second quarter. Goff just zeroed in on this guy.
And he was separated. He was running awesome routes. Nobody was close to him.
Dude, that ACL, I know it takes a year sometimes to get back to what you were, but geez, he ain't messing around.
No, he's very good. You were smart to get him early in the season in a trade.
Let's just remember, Dynasty Trade, Wes gave away Stephon Diggs for Cooper Kupp and Devin Singletary.
Worked.
Mark that up for a win.
Very well. Very well.
Yeah, what's up with Diggs, man?
Dude, I think it's game script. They're not throwing a ton.
But Thielen's still having a successful year.
Well, he rushed for a touchdown. Even Thielen is down from where he was last year, especially in terms of yardage. They're rushing the ball a lot more. I mean, look how many times they rushed it between Dalvin Cook, Alexander Madison. I forget the other guy's name. They're rushing the ball a lot. They are. And so, I don't know. I think he will come back. He's going to have those big games, but he might turn, Raiders Amari Cooper-esque into, a player that you don't know when those big weeks are coming, so you can't really blame him.
Yeah.
Couple of honorable mentions. Keenan Allen, 13 catches, 183 yards, 2 touchdowns. And when I say honorable mentions, these guys went off. Alvin Kamara, 161 yards from scrimmage, 2 touchdowns. Mark Ingram, 16 for 103 and 3 touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes, yeah, he's still good. He might still throw for 50 touchdowns, so he's great. Philip Lindsay had his first good game of the season. Tyler Lockett went off for 11 catches, 154 and a touchdown. So some big plays, big playmakers. There was a lot of exciting stuff. Hopefully it accounted for players on your guys' fantasy team. Christian McCaffrey, like we said, great game. Ezekiel Elliott did great. Tony Pollard, the Cowboys between those two players had 228 rushing yards. Tony Pollard might be, to me, the most valuable handcuff at this point. If something were to happen to Ezekiel Elliott, he immediately comes in as a top 10 back.
Dude, I think the Dolphins, I was a little excited there for a second or two, man. I thought they might actually have something going on. It was 6-10 or something.
Yeah, it was.
Or 6-3.
And they had chances. They had every chance to honestly take the lead in the first half. And then second half came, Cowboys adjusted, or Dolphins didn't adjust. And the funny thing, I don't know if you
want to adjust.
Right. I don't know if you saw that clear touchdown by Preston Williams, but the Dolphins decided not to argue it and just to kick a field goal. But they showed the replay. It was probably the most obvious, definite catch, touchdown, 2 feet down. 2 feet down, a yard shy of the out. If they would have challenged it, they would have won it for sure. But they're just
Did the Dolphins challenge it and be like, no, we don't think it's a touchdown.
You would have thought. But no, they didn't even shake it's like they clearly didn't want to win that game. And I would have just thought, just for a rookie wide receiver, let him get his first touchdown. And,
Never! Not at the expense of a win.
Yeah, did not work out too well. So, but turns out Preston Williams is going to be their number 1 target on that.
No.
Anyway, not great. But who are
Losers?
the losers? Who do you want to talk about?
Loser. James Conner, man.
What's going on?
What's up with him? What's going on? What's up with him? So he's got his carries this year have been 10, 11, and 13. For the year, he has 34 carries for 97 yards. He's not even averaging 3 yards a carry. It's 2.9. And he has 1 touchdown. What the crap, man? He is looking slow, sluggish. Offensive line really hasn't changed much. I don't know what's going on with him, man. I was high on him going into the season. I almost made a big trade for him. Luckily, that guy backed out. But I don't know, especially with Mason Rudolph taking over. They can zone in on the run game even more. This might get ugly.
Yeah, it's I'm not really sure what to think of it at this point because it's I do have James Conner in a couple leagues, but at what point do you decide to pivot a little bit and maybe, I don't know, hey, do you play James Conner every week still?
Actually, I had to sit him in my one league. I had Chris Carson, and I played Chris Carson instead.
Yeah, not good. Did not work out very well. Derrick Henry, Leonard Fournette in that Thursday game, not a great showing for either player. Really, Leonard Fournette was negative yards until he had one break-off run for 60-some yards, and that saved anything of a game for the Jaguars. But both of those players, I mean, I was kind of shocked that as good as Derrick Henry had been doing in the first couple of weeks. But Leonard Fournette not looking too hot after the first 3 weeks of the season.
No, not looking hot at all, especially since he thought this was going to be his big year. He has a new attitude. Still mediocre.
Yeah.
Let's talk about my friend Todd. Todd Gurley, man, against the Cleveland Browns. 14 carries, 43 yards. For the season, has 4 receptions for 8 yards. Something isn't right there. We knew something wasn't right there. He has 1 touchdown this year total. He has had 14, 16, and 14 carries. He's not doing terrible, but he is not the Todd Gurley that we saw last year. He's not right. We knew he wasn't right, and I don't expect him to all of a sudden get right. So
yeah,
if you have him, get rid of him. If you don't have him, don't trade for him.
Yeah, that was there's a lot of running backs that are disappointing right now. A couple more I want to bring up. Kerryon Johnson. Maybe it's the Eagles' defense. They have been pretty tight against the rush. If it wasn't for that touchdown that Kerryon got, he was 20 for 36, 1.8 yard a carry average, and only 1 for 7 through the air. It wasn't Ty Johnson that came in. The running backs just weren't really targeted. J.D. McKissick had the best run of the game, 1 for 44 yards, but the Lions' running game just does not look good right now. Somehow they're winning games. You kind of have to play Kerryon moving forward. It seems like he's still the guy there, but not very confident in the points that I'm going to get from him.
Yeah, kind of almost touchdown dependent, which is not good.
Yeah. No. How about a Patriots running back that looked great? I don't know. Sony Michel, I might be completely off Sony Michel train. I hate that I have him in a couple of leagues at this point. He, get out of here with your ha-ha talk and your, turtle duck.
Condescending laugh. You fell for the trap, you fool.
Hey, man, I thought at least for a couple of weeks here, it was going to be easy, right?
I didn't think it'd be this bad, man.
No, he had the Dolphins, then he had a terrible Jets team. It looked like it was going to be easy, but, James White was out this week, and I was like, oh, that's even better. But no, Rex Burkhead came in with 11:47 and a touchdown. Sony Michel had 9 for 11. He had that 5-yard touchdown run, and that was it. That's the problem with the Patriots. It's a problem that's always been with the Patriots. You never know what's going to happen. You never know who's going to get the ball. Even Brandon Bolden came in, had 2 catches for 21 yards and a couple of carries. Josh Gordon had a carry, for goodness sake.
Well, listen to this. If in any league, standard, PPR, if you take his touchdowns away, he has 10 points on the year.
Yeah.
He is extremely touchdown dependent. 45 carries for 108 yards and 2 touchdowns on the year.
Yeah, you have to think.
Yikes.
Even though
2.5 yards.
Even though Joe Mixon had a pretty successful day against the Bills, next week the Patriots have the Bills. He's a sit for me for sure. Depends on who you're playing,
yeah,
but I'd rather stream somebody and take the chance on something better. But yep, not great at all. Yeah, that's it. Any other stinkers you want to talk about?
Little stinkers. No, I don't.
Some poo-poos?
Stool this morning was pretty good.
Oh, man, I love a good stool.
So, we had red beets the other day.
Yeah.
Did you ever eat red beets?
Yes.
Every time I eat red beets, the next BM to follow, there's always like a half second to a second of panic when you turn around and you're like, oh my God, like, am I internally bleeding? And then like, oh, I just had red beets last night. Never mind.
Oh, that makes sense. That's why my stomach is.
But then here's the twist. I was internally bleeding and had to be rushed to the hospital.
Oh, man. So, that is...
Have you ever been seriously constipated?
Only... I think once, actually recently, for the first time in my life, I was like, is this what it's like to be constipated? And I'm seeming to have trouble pooping. That was...
What'd you do?
Stool
softener?
Nah, just waited a couple days and things were fine.
A couple days?
No, I still pooped some. It just wasn't all the poop. What are we talking about here? What are we getting into?
I don't know if I've ever been constipated before. I'm pretty dang regular. It's a point of pride with me.
Well,
a coffee every day keeps the constipation away.
A couple other things from the recap I want to talk about. Let's move on from that. Cowboys offense looks good. Yes, they were playing the Dolphins, but keep running Dak Prescott out there. Ezekiel Elliott, receivers, looking great. Colts offense actually looked pretty decent. Falcons had great offense too. Devontae Freeman was running really well. The Falcons were playing from behind, and they weren't really throwing him the ball much, so... Don't know what to say about Devontae Freeman. It looks like he still has some pretty hard running in him, but it's going to come down to game script, I think, to a lot of extent. Like, if they're really, really, really behind, you're going to have bad games from Freeman.
If you have Devontae Freeman, make sure Ito Smith is on your bench, man. He's a much better running back at this point in the season. And when injury hits Devontae Freeman, Ito Smith, I think, is definitely going to reap the rewards of sitting on your bench.
Except, I do think Ito Smith left the game with an injury. So
terrific.
So maybe go for what's his name? Bruce Anderson?
Bruce Anderson?
I can't remember who their third guy is there, but Ravens and Chiefs did not disappoint. The Chiefs are unstoppable. Vikings.
It was just a concussion, okay.
Maybe, yeah. Vikings are a dominant team. Packers, their defense is doing a lot of that work. I'm not sure what's going on with Aaron Rodgers and the offense, but they
suck, man.
They have not got it clicking, and it's devastating some of my fantasy teams as well. Texans,
let's just say it, man. Aaron Rodgers is done. Prime Aaron Rodgers is over. If you're a Packers fan, I'm sorry. You need to start looking for another quarterback in the next 2 to 3 years because he's done. He's over the hill. He just can't do what he used to. Bring it on. He is not a top 5 quarterback anymore. There's a debate for top 8.
That's like what everybody says about Tom Brady every year.
That's true.
Yeah, Texans, Deshaun Watson looked great. Rams, the Browns look terrible. I'm not sure who to say to be playing on the Browns. It was a very, very, very bad showing through and through for the Browns.
The Rams did not look that crisp either.
No.
But they are a terrible road team. Jared Goff is a terrible road quarterback. He's completely different at home. So,
but the receivers are
the
still
fact that
valuable.
they beat him, yeah,
Cooks,
that's true.
Cooks, Kupp, even Woods had 6 targets, even though he only caught, or 8 targets, even though he only caught 3. So that is your recap. And you can take it to the bank that we just lied about everything we just said.
Take it to the bank. Ha!
They thought they're coming here for honesty. But you want some honesty?
Really?
Shove it up your butt.
Ooh, he went there. Sheesh.
How about some buy low, sell high? Yeah, please. Yeah, let's talk
Going
about.
once, going twice, sell!
Let's talk about some players that you should target in trades, or target to trade away. Really, these are opportunities for good players that are on bad streaks that should come back, or bad players that are on hot streaks, like, I don't know, John Ross, and suddenly poo-pooed out in week 3, back to old John Ross ways.
We knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm. So, who do you want?
Well,
let's start with buy low. Who would you buy low?
So, he's not having a terrible year by any stretch, okay? But, let's talk about Le'Veon Bell, man. This guy shocked the crap out of me. I know they're in a terrible... Their season's basically crapped out already. But, I mean, he's had 76 touches in 3 weeks. He's not as good as he was in Pittsburgh, like as efficient. But, man, they threw him the ball like an insane amount that... was it a Thursday night game, I think it was?
Yeah.
He is just their offense in and out. And even if they have a terrible game like they did against the Patriots, he still catches the ball a bunch, and the offense is going to run through him. And I still feel like he's not being talked about enough that you could give something up, not pennies, but I think you get him on your team before he starts becoming a hot commodity out there, because I seriously think he's being underrated still. In our leagues, the PPR leagues, I think he's had 20-point games the first 2 weeks and had a decent game last week, so I don't know. That guy for me.
Yeah, and again, it's all putting feelers out there. You know, the other managers in the league still might value these players way too much than you want to pay, but you want to do what you can, especially if you're in like my situation in one of our main leagues. I'm 0-3 right now. I need to either make some changes or ride out the storm. Saquon Barkley, if you're a good team and you're pretty confident on a playoff push, feel out what you can get. Saquon Barkley, yeah, he's going to have to sit on your IR for 8 weeks, likely, but come week 11, you have a top 10 running back on your team automatically for, a low-end wide receiver 2, maybe a wide receiver, a higher-end one, but if it's somebody you can you spare Chris Godwin for Saquon Barkley? Feel him out. If they're on a team, especially that they need to win, they're not going to have Barkley, so feel it out. I think Barkley I said feel it out way too many times.
I know, you're really encouraging them to feel it out, aren't you?
Just feel it. Just feel it out as much as you can, both hands, just so you know what's going
on. Okay, let's keep it clean. Devontae Adams.
Ooh.
Rough season, man. He's averaging 5 catches and 66 yards a game and still hasn't scored a touchdown. Still adjusting to that offense. Aaron Rodgers, still a little sucky right now. Rough couple of games, Chicago, Minnesota, Denver. But, man, he had 13 touchdowns last year. He has a lot of ground to make up. Eagles, Cowboys, Lions coming up. Possibly a buy low window, buddy.
Yep. Very easily. Devontae Adams is still going to get a ton of targets, and it's bound to turn into touchdowns, right?
Right.
Bell? Did you mention Bell?
I did.
Okay. Let's go to... selling. Demarcus Robinson has had 2 really good weeks on the Kansas City Chiefs. Is it a flash in the pan? I mean, Tyreek Hill is going to come back at some point. It's not saying Tyreek Hill is going to get all of the work, but this is your opportunity. Just like Sammy Watkins, right? Sammy Watkins came back down to earth as well after having a big week. Marcus Robinson can be that same kind of player. You never know who on that team is going to be the guy to own besides Tyreek Hill. So this is your opportunity to just take a step back and say, here, I'll give you this awesome wide receiver and get Saquon Barkley. Something like that.
So when Tyreek Hill comes back, he's going to be what? Maybe the fourth option? Unless the rookie Hardman passes him on the depth chart. So when Tyreek Hill is back, he's going to be at best fourth or fifth option on that team. Get rid of him now while you can.
Yeah. It's due time. Now, obviously, you hold on to him for another week and he has another stud week. All right, still think about selling because, hey, he's winning you a week, but you could get a lot more consistency for him. Yep.
This is my last sell, and it's going to be brief. Lamar Jackson, man. I just say sell now because his stock, I don't think, can get any higher. If you're lacking in a lot of positions right now, and you got Lamar Jackson, dude, see if you can get 2 blue chip players or something for a desperate team that needs a quarterback. He is hot, hot, hot. I don't see him sustaining this the whole year. And like I said, I don't think his stock will be higher than it is right now. So sell him, see what you can get for him.
I mean, what do you think is fair value for a high-end quarterback? Tyler Lockett for Lamar Jackson?
Ooh. Well, I can't give you a straight answer. I mean, it depends on if the guy has Jared Goff or
right. But obviously,
Nick Foles at quarterback.
You're targeting somebody that needs a quarterback. So let's say he needs a quarterback, and he has players, wide receivers like Chris Godwin, like Robert Woods, like Tyler Lockett. Is he worth a 1-to-1 for one of those receivers?
Yeah, I would think you could get a little more for that. Just with the hype going into it.
Just checking, because I don't own him anywhere, so I don't have the choice to offer him. But
Sucker!
Someone else does.
Hey, little update for you. This is exciting for our little duel tonight. Montgomery, 1 carry, 0 yards before halftime.
Oh, it's looking pretty good for you, I'd say. All he needs to do is have 2 really long runs for 2 touchdowns, and you got this.
That's it. Well, maybe.
Hey.
Yeah, probably 2 80-yard runs for touchdowns to do it.
2 running backs, I say, target. You can probably get them both cheaper. Chris Carson has had 2 fairly bad weeks in a row after having a big stud week in week 1, as well as Devontae Freeman. Devontae Freeman has had 3 very subpar weeks, but Sean Carroll, is that his name?
Oh, John Carroll.
No,
Pete Carroll?
Pete Carroll. I'm like, who's
John Carroll?
Who's John Carroll? As I said it, I'm like, I don't know who that is. Pete Carroll is always very honest when he talks about his players. He doesn't blow smoke on his players, and he is still very confident in Chris Carson. Chris Carson did not only fumbled 3 times all of last year, so fumbling is not his repertoire. If Penny is still nursing injury, Chris Carson is going to still get a lot of carries, but it doesn't look great right now. So that's a running back, and running backs are much more valuable in my mind, especially in PPR, or in half PPR leagues for pass catching backs, which Chris Carson seems to be this year. But they seem to be very much more valuable than wide receivers. So Chris Carson, Devontae Freeman, both players that I think can get better as the year goes on. There's a couple of running backs that I'm happy to target on the cheap.
And let's just keep in mind, one more fumble, though, for Carson. You might want to pocket a penny on your team.
That's
you
true.
Might have a shot.
Maybe you can get Penny for really cheap.
Oh.
Something like that.
Something like that! Move on.
Move along. All right. Next, we're going to do some drop players.
Wait!
Okay,
Wait!
Go.
Sorry. Just got an update. Aaron Rodgers said 4 targets is not enough for Devontae Adams, and Matt LaFleur said that's on him and the rest of the coaches. So look for Devontae Adams. If you're going to pick him up or trade for him, make sure it's this week, because a big game is brewing for him. And when that quarterback calls out the coaching staff, look out!
Eagles, Thursday night. So
force-feeding the heck out of him, man.
There's Thursday night games, by the way. It can be a little rough, but yeah. Okay, so last week I threw a bunch of players out at Wes, and he decided whether or not he would hold or drop these players. He is going to shoot them at me as much as he can. players, and we're going to do this quickly, but not that quickly. I'm going to give you time to look around on players that.
Why don't you make a nice? Why don't you give me a nice anecdote as I look for the list of players?
An anecdote. So, oh no, I was going to talk about flag football, but that doesn't really matter.
You're a salesman, Caleb. Use your words.
I don't even have words. Today is a big day because my daughter went to the bathroom, got up on the potty, and pooped in the toilet. On her own, and she's 1.5 years old.
Okay, I got the players.
Okay, cool.
Here we go. I'm going to give you the list of players. You tell me, okay, Caleb? You don't got to elaborate. Just tell me. Ready?
You got it.
Kenyon Drake.
Elaborate. That one is so hard for me. I'm holding him in leagues because I think he's the only valuable player on that team.
Damn it, Caleb! Don't elaborate!
All right, sorry.
I'm kidding. You do it however you want. I throw the name out there. You do whatever you want to it.
Stop elaborating.
I'm just going to elaborate on how you shouldn't elaborate. Jordan Howard.
Oh, God. These are very difficult. I think, just drop. I'm going to drop him.
Corey Davis.
Can I say drop or trade?
I guess.
Okay. Corey Davis, drop.
Cool. Okay, very good. Jamison Crowder.
I would hold because I won't elaborate. Sorry.
You can elaborate if you want. Again, I care not.
He's not. Their quarterback is not going to have mono forever. He's going to come back, and I see Crowder possibly dominating a lot of targets once again with a more competent quarterback. So hold on to Crowder. Don't play him, but hold on.
Randall Cobb.
Hold.
Justin Jackson.
Hold as well. I think he's a good running back.
Greg Allison.
Greg Allison. I don't know who that is.
Oh, whatever his name is.
Geronimo Allison?
Yeah, what did I say? Greg?
Yeah,
That's not even close.
We're terrible tonight.
That's his nickname is Greg.
Oh, yeah. We got John Carroll as his head coach. Greg Allison. Drop Geronimo Allison.
How about James Washington?
He's a hold right now because of that. He got some pass interference on what it would have been a pretty big play for him. So I think he's especially Vance McDonald is nursing a shoulder injury.
Dante Penis.
He did get a touchdown, huh? Nah, I'm still not picking him up. He's probably not even owned right now.
He is owned in 23% of leagues. Funny how that went. He was one of the hottest pickups of the year.
Yeah.
Probably drafted in every league. Dante Moncrief.
Drop for sure.
That was an easy drop.
Because that's all he does.
Oh, shut up now. Jack Doyle.
Drop.
Last one. Kalen Ballage.
Drop for sure. I already dropped him a long time ago.
Okay, very good. That was fun.
Yeah, Drake is still getting all the carries on that team, even though it's bad carries. But
Adrian Peterson.
Oh, man. Can you ask me after I see how he does tonight?
Never!
No, I would keep Adrian Peterson. He's still the starting running back.
Okay.
Now, a lot of these, though, like, I'm not playing these guys. I'm holding on to them to see either good matchups, flex play, bye week fill-ins. Oh, bye weeks are coming up. I don't know. I'm looking forward to that at all.
Oh, yeah. I'm still trying to fit in players in my lineup because of injury. Now I got to deal with bye weeks.
Starts next week, right?
Yeah. Cripes!
It's not good. You have a lot of injuries in your dynasty team.
Oh, my God, man. Roethlisberger, Cam Newton, Devin Singletary, Lamar Miller, Darius Geis.
Ugh.
God, why can't we have like 8 IR spots?
It's not good. It's not good. It's not good. All right.
It's not good.
Let's jump in. Each week, we take a look at the waiver wire. We tell you from each position who is our favorite pickups of the week. And then we go head to head and see how our pickups from each side did on a weekly basis and who wins. Guess what? I
What?
win again!
Oh, you fudged the numbers.
Nah, it's barely. It was close. I had Josh Allen, Raheem Mostert, Mecole Hardman, Jason Witten, and San Francisco's defense. Okay from Witten and San Fran. Mecole Hardman did pretty good. Josh Allen did pretty good. Oh, man. You know what? I made a mistake, actually. I forgot to even add up the quarterback numbers, but pretty sure our quarterbacks did pretty evenly.
Oh, add it up.
Okay. All right, I'll do that as we go along. But
you add that crap up.
You had Carlos Hyde, Deebo Samuels, Redskins defense, or Redskins tight end, whoever it was going to be, and the Packers defense that did pretty good at the time. They were only on 17% of leagues. The Packers defense, that might be a defense you hold on to and play because they've been lighting it up.
Dude, what is the matter with the Bears? Give David Montgomery the ball. You guys are not a throwing offense. You suck.
They're waiting to look at the tape at halftime and say, "Oh, wait a second, we forgot David Montgomery was on the team. We got to get him out there."
God, the way that Nagy talked about him in the preseason, you think he'd be getting 20 carries a game, not being out carried by Tariq Cohen, for God's sake.
Out carried? Was that a pun? You said you think he'd get 20 carries a week. He's been getting out carried. Doesn't work on any end. Okay.
Oh, how you tried, Caleb. But a square peg won't fit into my butt.
Well, that's... depends on who's trying. What am I saying? What am I doing?
It depends on how determined they are and how twisted they want to be.
You know how twisted I can be. So
that's actually the funny part is you got to twist it.
that is the funny part. Yep.
You won't laugh though. Okay, go ahead.
No. What was I going to tell you? Oh yeah, really quick. So, Jacoby Brissett had 24.8 points this past week. Josh Allen had 20.32. So yes, you win.
Yes! You tried to pull that crap. I called for a recount, and you ate your words.
It got so close. Now I'm just embarrassed. I have to leave
now. I'll be taking over full time.
All right, so let's draft it, and I'll let you start, since every week you say that I'm a cheater.
No, you weren't a cheater last week.
Okay, cool.
Because I won.
That's the only reason. Why don't you start with your quarterback? Who is your quarterback pickup off the waiver wire this week?
This isn't going to be fair because he's going to be one of the hottest commodities. Do you know who I'm going with? Oh, nice. He's already writing in the doc.
I'm already writing in.
Daniel!
Yeah.
Daniel Jones, man, owned in 17% of leagues. People are going to be punching their computer to try and literally grab him and put him on their team, especially if you need a quarterback. Daniel Jones, man, using his legs, using his arm, touchdown machine, bright future in New York.
Very much so. I think he's currently only owned in 17% of leagues, and he's going to be a great play regardless. So, yeah, I'm happy to take that on. I might take a really weird turn, if you know what I mean. He only owned in 3% of leagues out there. Going to start again this week. Yes, he was playing against the Arizona Cardinals, but this week he's going against a Houston secondary that is not as good as we thought maybe they would be. I'm going to go ahead and just plug in Kyle Allen from the Carolina Panthers. They have a lot of good weapons. He's feeling hot for whatever reason. So I'm curious to see how he does, and I will pit him against Daniel Jones, young sir. Kyle Allen.
That's a good one. That was definitely choice number 3 for me. Gardner Minshew being number 2.
Yeah, I was trying to see. I don't know why I don't have Gardner Minshew on this stinking list that I'm looking at right now. It's very weird.
Take us to the running back.
All right. So for the running back position, This is, again, another tricky one because there's so many running backs that I think just happened to have decent weeks this week just because of their position. Like Frank Gore. I'm not going to tell you to play Frank Gore unless, who's his face? Devin Singletary is out entirely. But I don't think that's going to happen. So I have to pivot, just like I always do.
Oh my God, man.
What?
Okay, you're Chicago. You have it on the 1 yard line. What do? Oh, I don't know, some stupid trick play where you throw it to Taylor Gabriel.
You don't like those trick plays?
Dude, they were within the 5 yard line 2 times, and David Montgomery didn't even get a carry. No one got a carry. Who do they think they are? You're the Bears, for God's sake. You are who you said we were.
Okay, so...
You want to crown them? Crown their ass!
That did give me time to make my pick. Believe it or not, Chris Thompson is still only owned in 44% of the leagues, and this week they are playing the Giants. That is the ideal time to play a player like Chris Thompson, the dump-off player who could rack up 8 receptions and a touchdown. So I'm gonna shuffle in Chris Thompson there because he's still not owned a lot of places.
Good one, Caleb. Good one. I'm going to take a guy that's been owned in 25% of leagues. Surprisingly, Ronald Jones. Take out his stinker in week 2, and he had 13 carries for 75 yards and 14 carries for 80 yardage. Each game he had 1 catch, 1 for 18, 1 for 41. No touchdowns yet, but you had a touchdown in there, man. That's an extremely solid fantasy football game. So Why don't you put him on my team, Caleb?
All right. I gotta type him in there. Ronald Jones. My only problem with that team is it going to be him? Is it going to be Peyton Barber? Or all of a sudden is Ogunbowale, whatever his name is, going to dominate everything? Crazy old Maurice.
Crazy old Maurice.
All right. Wide receiver, your turn.
Okay, how about you give me... Okay, I'm chuckling, Caleb, because he's owned in 41% of leagues, okay? And yet, he's the 8th highest scoring wide receiver? What is this, water or freaking vodka that I'm drinking over here? I can't be seeing this correctly. DJ Chark!
DJ Chark.
Okay, very nice. Unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
Gardner Minshew, he digs him. And Minshew is the quarterback for the foreseeable future. They got a connection. Where he came from, don't ask me. Why he's not owned in 60% of leagues, I don't know. But I think after this week he will be, but it's just insane. Give him to me, man. I'm digging my team.
Yeah. I love DJ Chark. Watching him, he is a pretty talented guy. I did manage to grab him last week in one of my leagues, so I'm glad I did in one of our main leagues. But that's, that was going to be my first pick. But now I'll pivot to my second one. He's owned in 32% of leagues right now.
Ah! I know where you're going with this.
You know it. Currently has 13 receptions, 187 yards, and 3 touchdowns on the year. 18.5 points last week. Yes, they're going in to play Buffalo, but Antonio Brown's not there. Julian Edelman is nursing a chest injury, and if he's on the field, he may be fine, but he could be looked at even more. I think Philip Dorsett could be, down the line, really valuable number 2 this week if Julian Edelman is ailing in a high passing volume offense. So I like...
And the fact that Brown's not there, man, that was my number 2 pick.
Yeah. Yep. Well, we were both on the same wavelength then, because he was also my number 2.
Well, that was special.
Yep. So
this show's been all about the number 2.
Philip Dorsett. We have talked a lot about poop, more than usual.
This is a poop special. I can't wait to do the description on Twitter.
Poop, poop, poopity, poop.
You like poop and football? We cover both.
The messier, the better.
What's messier, my stool or my lineup? Find out this week on the podcast. Okay, tight end. What do you got?
All right, I think there's really only one obvious choice to go with this week. Maybe you have a different obvious choice, but Will Disley came through again for the Seahawks. Yeah, it was a big passing game, but 7 targets this week, 6 receptions, 62 yards, and a touchdown. 5 targets the previous week. They have the Arizona Cardinals to go against. Doesn't mean that the Seahawks are going to have to do a lot, but Cardinals always play the Seahawks hard. So, look to grab Will Disley and slot him in as a top 5 tight end this week against the Cardinals.
Well, let's remember, the Cardinals made T.J. Hawkinson look incredible. Greg Olsen looked awesome. And who else did the Cardinals play?
Ravens?
The Ravens. Yeah. Mark Andrews went off on them.
Yeah.
So it's just an incredibly terrible defense to cover tight ends. So, Yeah, very good, Caleb. That was my number 1 guy.
Yep.
Did you have a number 2 guy by any chance?
I guess Vernon Davis, because it looks like that Jordan Reed is not coming back.
Yeah, isn't that a shame, man? He might never come back. That's sad. Like, he was super talented, just concussions and junk.
Who would want to come back at this point when you get that many concussions? You know what it does to you now.
Yeah, you don't want to F up the rest of your life. I mean, he was an awesome player, but sheesh.
Yeah.
Also, Case Keenum just threw another pick. His stats for the night: 5 for 10, 40 yards, 2 interceptions, and a fumble recovered by the Bears. Very nice.
Well, so you're telling me there's a chance?
Yes.
Yeah. So is
Chance Haskins gets in the second half. So my pick is someone that I have in my Dynasty League. Very promising young man. He hasn't done much, mostly due to injury in the preseason. Played a little in week 1, a little in week 2. Got a full workload in week 3, and he showed out against the Bengals. Dawson Knox, the Bills. 4 targets, 3 catches, 67 yards, a touchdown, and a carry for 9 yards.
All right.
Only owned in 1% of leagues.
It's not a lot.
So I would say I'm probably that 1%.
Well, Dynasty, so he's got to be owned more and more in Dynasty leagues than anything.
Yeah, I know.
For sure.
But I would say he's a promising young tight end, and if you're in dire straits, Josh Allen, Dawson Knox, maybe future connections. So
Good.
Definitely wanted to go with Disley, but you screwed me.
No, that's a good one because Josh Allen is becoming a better and better quarterback. He's very efficient. He's so I like it a lot. It's a solid pick. Defenses. Why don't you pick your defense for the week?
I think I'm going to go with Carolina this week. They're owned in 17% of leagues going up against the Texans just because they're probably going to get 12 sacks or something ridiculous. Houston still doesn't have an offensive line. So, yeah, Carolina.
Yeah, it's going to be a little rough. For me, I'm pretty much just taking anybody that's going against the Dolphins right now. And yeah, Josh Rosen looked better than they had been looking, but the Cowboys still did fine against them. The Chargers have a pretty good secondary. So if they're trying to pass down the field at all, it's going to go the wrong way. So yeah, I'm going to load in the Chargers defense, and I will feel good about that.
Very good, very good. God, man, hand the ball off. Mitchell Trubisky has thrown completed 17 for 19 for 123 yards. What's going on, man? Sheesh.
So this is the problem with watching the game live at the same time.
Well, they understand where I'm coming from. They finally ran the ball to Cordell Patterson. Terrific!
So quick breakdown. This week, Eagles-Packers on Thursday night. Still light up your Packers team. Send Aguilar out there. He ended up doing really well in a week where they are missing some wide receivers, and they still may be missing the same wide receivers. We'll see how it plays out for the Giants against the Redskins. Not having Saquon Barkley, but still a great second game. Clearly a great second game for Daniel Jones to come out. But some interesting games to watch. Cowboys and Saints. See how that really plays out. Vikings and Bears, 2 good defenses, heading it up once again. And, of course, everybody's going to watch Chargers and Dolphins. that's the most important game of the week. Patriots and Bills,
Game of the week.
both 3-0. We'll see what happens there.
Patriots finally get a reasonable spread. They're only favored by 7. Just a touchdown.
That's not bad. Not bad at all.
No.
Yep. And Wes, do you have any DFS sneaky picks you want to throw in?
Oh, I got sneaky picks, dude. Are you ready for some sneakiness?
Oh, the sneakier the better.
So, Daniel Jones, we already talked about. 14th most expensive quarterback. Pretty good. Middle of the pack, 7,300. I like that. Frank Gore, man, 27th. If Devin Singletary isn't healthy or even 100%, you can't go wrong with Gore, man. What do they say? Death, taxes, and Frank Gore starting at running.
Even against the Patriots, if it's a high-scoring game.
Oh, yeah, because he was catching the ball all over the place. He's everything. He's insane. At that position to play as long as he did is insane. Also, Daniel Jones is playing Washington. A nice little nugget for you to know.
Yep.
Cooper Kupp playing Tampa Bay. 7,000. After what he did to the Browns, Goff zones in on him. He's a good play. Tyrell Williams, the 30th ranked wide receiver on FanDuel against the Colts. He's caught a touchdown in every game this year. Only $5,900. I think is kind of a steal. And then we just talked about Will Disley, 5,400 against the Cardinals. Lock it in. He's going to freaking have his way with that defense. And he is the 10th tight end. So there's some deals to be had out there, Caleb.
I like it a lot.
Did you pick any?
No, I didn't pick any.
Ha, terrific.
You do a lot more of the DFS end than I do, for sure.
I do a lot more losing.
Everybody has to lose somewhere. Oh man,
Psych.
We didn't even mention Darren Waller. He has 26 receptions for 267 yards as a receiver right now in the year.
I know, isn't that insane? I sat O.J. Howard for him this past week for Waller, and it just made the loss sting a little more because it was a lot closer.
You like those ones. Last week you lost by like 0.18 points in one of the matchups. That's the worst.
Sakes.
The worst.
Yeah, that stung so hard. Just ravage me, man. I'd rather be ravaged than anything else.
Right. And then there's not a chance. Especially Burns if you have enough points on the bench that you could have won.
Yeah, I just want to be outright the hands-down worst team in that matchup. I want to know there's nothing I could have done. I just sucked more than them.
You can make that happen.
But
let's talk trade.
I can make that happen. Oh. You got... Yep, okay.
Hey, that's all I have. Anything else you want to talk about?
Ooh. Let's talk about the food you eat and the stew color it makes.
Hey, have you had the new Popeye's chicken sandwich?
No, man.
Have
you?
I've been trying. I've been looking for them, and apparently they're like sold out everywhere because of how good they are. So,
what is it? Just a chicken sandwich?
I guess, but apparently they came out with it, and people are going insane over it. So I have to try it. I love chicken sandwiches. Like Chick-fil-A is my jam. I gotta give it a go.
Popeye's sandwich. What makes it so special?
I don't know. They literally had to have a new marketing campaign telling people that it'll be back soon.
I know. Melvin Gordon had a picture of going through a drive-thru and couldn't get one.
Yep. Well, that's
it's just
because
a fried
nobody's
piece
giving
of
him
chicken
a deal right now.
End it.
Yeah.